On a bright but chilly morning in the heart of the city's financial district, where skyscrapers glinted like mirrors and luxury cars hummed over polished streets, a little girl appeared like a ghost among the towers. Her cheeks were dusty, her clothes torn, and her eyes carried a weight far beyond her age. Arya Nolan's small hands gripped a faded bank card, a relic from her mother. As if holding on to life itself, she paused at the enormous glass doors of the Grand Crest Bank, the place where millions were counted, deals were made, and the powerful walked with unshakable confidence. Arya's stomach knotted with hunger, but she pushed forward, trembling yet determined. She didn't want charity, she didn't want pity. All she wanted was an answer. For 2 days, she had wandered the city streets with nothing but a few coins and the memory of her mother's words echoing in her mind, "Keep it safe, Arya. One day it will matter." People avoided her gaze, stepping aside as she shuffled through the crowds. And yet, despite the icy stares and whispered judgments, Arya's hope refused to die. Inside, the bank buzzed with life, ringing phones, flashing screens, footsteps echoing off marble floors. Wealth surrounded her in every corner. And there, sitting like a king among the ordinary mortals, was Maxwell Grant, one of the city's richest and most untouchable men. He laughed, oblivious to the struggles outside, but then, his eyes met Arya's. A tiny, fragile girl, holding a worn card, and suddenly the world's rhythm seemed to pause. Today, something extraordinary was about to happen, a story of courage, destiny, and the quiet miracles left behind by those who loved us. Arya's journey didn't begin with courage. It began with hunger, fear, and desperation. For 2 long days, she had roamed the streets, surviving on scraps and the kindness of strangers who were too busy to truly see her. Her torn gray shirt clung to her, the denim of her jeans sagging, worn from years of small growth and endless movement. Her mother's words, repeated over and over in Arya's mind, had been her only companion. "Keep the card safe, Arya. One day it will matter." For years, she had clutched it, never knowing whether it was a symbol of hope or nothing at all. Today, hunger clawed at her stomach, and the cold bit through her thin clothing, but she was ready to find out. The Grand Crest Bank loomed ahead, doors taller than any doorway Arya had ever seen. She took a deep breath, pushed them open, and stepped inside. Heads turned instantly, not with warmth, but with surprise and judgment. Here was a child, clearly out of place, walking among marble floors, glass walls, and the scent of money. The bank was alive with activity. Screens flashed stock charts and numbers she didn't understand. Workers in sharp suits hurried past, phones pressed to their ears, coffee in hand. The air was filled with the hum of conversation, the occasional laugh, and the constant click of keyboards. Everything about this world screamed wealth and power. In the center of it all sat Maxwell Grant. His presence was commanding, tall, impeccably dressed, radiating confidence. He laughed at a joke one of his advisors told, unaware that the world outside was full of struggle and pain. Nothing had ever surprised him, until now. Arya approached the customer service desk. Her hand shook as she slid her worn card forward. Elena Rohr, the bank employee, froze for a moment, taken aback by the child's appearance. People turned, whispering softly, some with concern, others with disbelief. Arya's voice was barely audible. I just want to check my balance," she said. Elena's heart softened. She guided Arya gently toward Maxwell's section. "He has access to older accounts," she whispered. "Maybe he can help." Arya didn't understand. She only knew she wanted answers. Maxwell noticed her immediately, though he tried to mask his amusement. A little girl, dressed in rags, approaching a billionaire like him. Surely, it was a prank, a publicity stunt, or a mistake. He leaned back in his chair, suppressing a chuckle, but Arya wasn't smiling. Her hands shook, her eyes darted nervously. Every judgmental glance in the room seemed magnified. And when she handed him the card, Maxwell felt a strange pang of curiosity. Why would anyone so young and fragile come here? He inserted the card into the terminal. Screen lit up. Maxwell's smirk faltered. Numbers appeared, a balance far beyond what he had expected. He blinked, leaned closer, and read again. His advisor, standing nearby, froze. Elena held her breath. This was no ordinary balance. This was a fortune. Arya's mother had once cared for an elderly entrepreneur named Victor Hale. Grateful for her kindness, Victor had quietly created a trust fund in Arya's name, untouched, growing year by year, meant for this very moment. Maxwell, for the first time in years, felt humbled. The child he had silently dismissed was now the owner of a fortune larger than many of his clients. A fortune she had never even imagined. Ari didn't understand the numbers. She only knew that something had changed. Elena explained softly, letting the words sink in. Tears welled up in her eyes. She wasn't alone anymore. She wasn't helpless. She had been left a gift of unimaginable power, a chance at a future, people in the bank whispered. Maxwell, famous for his pride, now knelt beside her, offering water and food, promising that his team would help her until a guardian could be appointed. For the first time in her life, Arya felt safe. The sunlight streaming through the grand windows seemed warmer, softer, more welcoming. Arya clutched the card to her chest. It wasn't about the money. It was about hope, security, and the proof that kindness can leave behind miracles. Arya stepped out later that afternoon. The golden light of the city felt different. The world hadn't changed, it was still full of challenges, still harsh at times, but something inside her had shifted. She had been gifted not just wealth, but a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. Her mother's love, and Victor's quiet generosity, had left a legacy powerful enough to alter the course of her life. Arya smiled for the first time in years. The world was no longer just a place to survive, it was a place where she could thrive. Sometimes the world is cold, sometimes cruel, but sometimes, hidden in the unlikeliest places, miracles wait. Gifts left by those who cared, strong enough to change everything, and Arya carried hers close to her heart, ready to face the future with courage, hope, and wonder. If Arya's story inspired you, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Echo Tales. Tell us, what would you do if a miracle appeared when you least expected it?